I mean, I get to see the comps for other people, but...
Yeah, we are going to be jumping in right now on the blind pick for the Grand Arena, as you can hear Super T starting to allude to. We just got a peek at the compositions. Let's jump down and see who's going to be able to take the first game of the series, Golden Guardians or Method Orange.
I don't like this comp from Method Orange. There is no self-healing whatsoever on the side of Method Orange, which means Shadow Priest is going to be pretty effective. And Sidu being on the Monk, like Sid mentioned, he could get swapped to. So there is actually real potential here for Golden Guardians.
All right, well, here we go. Gates are about to open. I think this is one of those matchups for Method Orange where it's not, it's not a 100% win. I think if they play it right, it's going to be looking strong. And I know this is something we saw from Method Orange last week. I have to say, Sam I think, was playing a really, really good series on his mage. So this is something they definitely have practiced, definitely have prepared. And it can be really difficult. I mean, for Golden Guardians, you're playing against triple orc. They're all stacking versatility. It's a lot of consistent damage you have to heal through. And I think in order to find pressure in this matchup, WizK and Peekaboo are going to have to pull out some miracles.
All right, the last series of the day. Tournament lives on the line already this early on between the Golden Guardians and Method Orange. Method Orange look to utilize their new composition, the Warrior Mage Mistweaver, but this might not be a favorable matchup. I think this could be a quite difficult one as Sam dips dangerously low. A full Hex. Sam needs to remove this, but then they silence the Decurse into a Psychic Scream. Golden Guardians are all over Method Orange. Not even a minute into this game. It's devastating damage across the board. Can Sidu keep his team up here? He's actually using Way of the Crane. It's not very often that you see the Mistweaver punching people with it. It's not even stabilizing the team. They get a double leg sweep into a double ring. They do manage to finally get some aggressive crowd control, pulling themselves back into the fight, but it cost a lot of mana from Sidu to do so.
Ooh, I mean, Sidu, he's burned through so much mana, like you said, already down to around 60%. Great start for the Golden Guardians. Mez under pressure as well. Silence now on Sidu. Sam having a really difficult time actually pushing in and getting any damage rolling. Now caught into a kidney shot. And Peekaboo, I suspect with the amount of damage we're seeing out, is playing full gushing wounds, and he is. So massive damage from the RPS of the Golden Guardians. This is looking really good. I don't think this is how this matchup is supposed to look, but things are falling apart quite quickly here for Method Orange.
I mean, Sidu could just die. He's just getting absolutely smacked. Rallying Cry might not even be enough. Silence out. They warbanner the silence for a moment. Nice warbanner from Mez. Life Cocoon connects. Sidu holds on by a thread. Nice polymorph from Sam. Beautiful counterattack by Mez. Insane damage with the Drestagath. Absterge immediately has to Trinket and Spirit Link. Mez kept his team in the game right there. Warbannering the silence. Getting a very important cooldown from Absterge on the counter engagement, but then Sidu gets caught in midfield. WizK jumps in with those rocket boots. He's ready to go with the Void Form. 2 Shadow Word Deaths. WizK claims victory, and Golden Guardians go up 1 in the series.
Why didn't Method lock that in? Zico, I'm trying to figure out why Method would go for that composition after everything that you guys just said about how they looked in the previous matchup today. Why? Why on earth did they do that, Zico? Zico's muted.
No! I only had one
Hey, look,
mute
it's
the
fine.
whole
Zico,
game, man.
Zico, that is not as big of a mistake as the mistake that we just saw Method Orange make. So you don't look that bad right now. Zico, we're trying to figure out why they potentially did lock that in when it seemed like they had everything going for them in the series. What do you possibly think was the mentality of locking in this composition?
I mean, I think... Was Sidu running dressed?
Let me look.
Like,
No, he was not. He was using Claw and Totem.
yeah, I really don't know. Like, I think they wanted to maybe try to one-shot somebody with Way of the Crane. Like, maybe do setups onto a Peekaboo because he's playing low Versa or something. But this comp, I mean, I said it as soon as I saw it locked in. I was like, wow, this Golden Guardian has a real chance here because there's no self-healing. You have a mage, his only self-healing is Stamp, and you can just purge that with a Shadow Priest and a Shaman on your team. Then you have a Warrior, he doesn't have any self-healing, and he wants to go late. And then you have, Sea-Doo on the Mistweaver, which is an excellent target to kill. So, I mean, if Sea-Doo was on his Holy Pala, I would say, okay, well, this comp makes a little bit more sense, but the fact that he's also on his Mistweaver, it's like 3 for 3 in terms of how bad these classes are in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is if you give Golden Guardians a good matchup, like you expect them to be a team to be able to capitalize on it, right? They're a fantastic team. The biggest weakness that they have is the fact that they don't have the widest variety of comps. I don't think that that's a big surprise to anyone. Ven, did you like this compositional pick from Method?
I feel like, I don't know. I don't mind it. I mean, if we, let me ask you guys a question. I mean, this is not shots fired, but if we saw Wildcard Gaming lock in Warrior, Mage, Monk, would we think that's a bad matchup?
Yeah.
You really would? Okay.
100%.
All right,
I mean,
what about...
They could still win it, but I would say, well, Wildcard Gaming have Windwalker DK. Why wouldn't they just lock that in? Because, sure, I get what you're trying to say here, that, maybe the matchup isn't that bad, but they're on alts versus triple mains, and if a team that's maining the comp plays it, it might look different. I get that, but you're still putting yourself in a situation where you're even giving the enemy team a win condition when you could not,
What do you think we want to see then? You think just Windwalker Death Knight would have been a better answer?
Demon Hunter Death Knight.
Windwalker DK, Demon Hunter, Windwalker.
Wait,
If
Demon Hunter
Sea-Doo goes on his
Windwalker?
Paladin, yeah, Demon Hunter Windwalker. You get Sam, you get Trill, you get Sea-Doo on a Paladin. I think that comp would do extremely well as well in this situation. It's DK Windwalker. I feel like just lock in one of your cleaves. Any cleave that Method Orange runs, it's probably going to do better than what we saw just now.
And also, just to clarify, I think going into this one, you would still most likely, Zico, favor the entire series most likely to Method Orange based off of just the compositions that we know that they do have, right? Like it's not it's not completely gone just because you saw that first composition for you.
No. I would still say if I was a betting man and I had to bet on one of these teams to win, I would still go with Method Orange, just because they are the team with the with the big amount of comps, and I don't think that they would lock this comp in again, seeing how it performed.
Yeah, and Golden Guardians, of course, on Ashmane's Fall are going to be bringing the composition that we do know them for. Now, the question is what Method Orange will actually end up doing here in this situation. And I know we've talked about the fact that we didn't like the comp that Method Orange did bring. Just one more time for anyone who maybe didn't see their earlier series, what was it that you saw from Method Orange, Zico, that you did like earlier?
Well, I like that they were just running basically counter the Shadow Priest strategy. Now, they were playing against two casters. They were playing against, Shadow Priest Ellie. And if you play against a rogue team, you kind of have to account for the fact that if you play a Mistweaver, you're going to get blinded. And if you don't get that blind, you can get 100 owed. So I think if Sea-Doo plays a Paladin, you still get that kind of soft counter to Shadow Priest element with the Shadow Aura. Just by Paladin existing, the Priest is going to do 15% less damage, right? And you're still going to be able to build that durable comp that you had with the Demon Hunter and the Windwalker, where essentially you're going to win on damage, and you're going to win on mana, and you're going to win on pressure, and you're just going to have a solid defense where you have a lot of answers to, CC chains, blind goes, etc.
Okay, now we are going to see Method Orange locking in Frost Death Knight, and Trill is going to be coming in on the Monk. Subtease, how do you feel about this for Ashmanes?
I feel like Golden Guardians are going to stomp them.
Would you?
I feel like
why?
They're going to switch between Sea-Doo and Trill consistently.
Isn't this what you said you wanted?
I don't know if I want to see a Mistweaver. I feel like Golden Guardians can win just the Mistweaver is exploitable with spam purge and swaps. I mean, they picked a good map to survive as a monk, but I feel like if you switch between Mistweaver and Windwalker over and over, Shadow Priest is really good at the Frost DK because you can trade for Chill Streak basically every time. You can fade it, disperse it, and then if Peekaboo just attacks Sea-Doo the whole game, and then WizK stays out in midfield, they can't do any damage. There's no target to bounce to. Then they can grip Absurge in, but then WizK fades. So I'm not sold on this from Method Orange.
I would have liked an Unholy DK more than
Yeah,
the
me
Frost
too.
DK. I feel like the Frost DK has to be on top of people to actually be effective and stay on top of people. And I think that's going to be extremely hard for Mez to do. Whereas if he's an Unholy, he's going to have more range interrupt, more range damage, and the necrotics and everything is just going to be more scary. So I would have liked the Unholy more.
Okay, what do you think actually caused them to bring Frost then? Because it sounded like, Fenriky, you also were in the mindset that Unholy would probably be a little bit better in this matchup. What do you think is causing them to lean towards Frost, Fen?
I don't know, to be honest with you, because I've actually played with Method Orange, with Mez and Sea-Doo, and played against the Golden Guardians. It was really difficult. I'd have to say the Golden Guardians, they do an excellent job avoiding kind of the all-in one-shots that Frost DK really has available. So I think Unholy Death Knight is a lot less of a liability. In some regards, for the Frost Death Knight, you kinda have to, not always, but if your opponent plays really, really well and they rotate properly and they really deny, your chill streaks, then you don't really get out that much effective damage outside of your Windwalker Monk. So I think the Unholy Death Knight would have been a lot better, but we'll see. Maybe Method Orange has really cleaned up, these setups, but I just think if they're not getting the chill streaks, they're probably not going to win this game. So I think that's the main thing we're going to have to look for in this game is Golden Guardians avoiding the grip blind chill streaks, and if they can do that, then I think they're going to win this game.
And look at it this way, Method Orange locking in two compositions that really weren't expected by anybody on the analyst desk. This is a team that is very good at picking compositions. There's definitely something that they are trying to play around. There is definitely something that they have up their sleeves. Will we see it here on Ashmane's Fall, or will the Golden Guardians be able to grab a quick 2-0 and get themselves on match point?
Not sure if it's going to be quick, but I feel like they have the tools to deal with the comp that Method Orange locked in. They can purge off Renewing Mists. They can use Grounding Totem, Fade, position really well to avoid the Frost Death Knight. I think the Windwalker Monk is highly susceptible to dying to this comp. So is the Mistweaver Monk. They just immediately open on Sea-Doo with a kidney shot. They cheap shot Trill. Absterge moves forward looking for hexes. They paralyze Peekaboo. They're pausing for a moment just to recover from the initial exchange. No cooldowns committed from either side just yet. Mez and Trill go after it. Oh, he shadow steps the Death Grip. Nice play by Peekaboo. And now hitting a single target Shadow Priest. Mez's damage is not going to get going for a long time. They're going to have to wait for that Death Grip to come off cooldown before they get some damage rolling. Peekaboo is still just marching at Sea-Doo, trying to get in range with the Chains of Ice. He goes for a blind. He's got poisons on Trill. Kidneys the Trinket. Nice punish here, but grapple from Trill is stalling some damage from Peekaboo. Whiskey commits to the silence. It's the anti-mag zone. Grip into double blind. This is where they need to get a high-value chill streak. They're also playing the Gladiator Spite. Interesting. Here, there's no fade. This is going to be big damage on a Peekaboo and Whiskey. They Cloak of Shadows. They Rocket Boots, but he double rops Whiskey back in off his Rocket Boots. Beautiful double Ring of Peace there. That's going to net them to Dispersion and a Vitality Conduit, but Golden Guardians are still keeping up the pressure on Sea-Doo. Stun locking him. Big Drestigath hit there on the silence. Lava burst in from Abster. Sea-Doo ports nowhere. Peekaboo's hunting after him to finish this. Absterge is pushing forward as well, but WizK on that Shadow Priest isn't moving too quickly to get in line of sight, but Peekaboo is definitely keeping up some pressure here, holding on to his kick. If Sea-Doo can't fake the kick, he's going to be in trouble. He has to use the Life Cocoon. Now WizK potentially in trouble, taking a lot more damage than I thought he was going to take. Absterge, I think, has been purging quite a bit in this matchup as well. He's very low on mana. Silence on Sea-Doo, swap over to Trill. What can Golden Guardians get done here? No follow-up of crowd control. Trill just going to walk it off. Sea-Doo picks him up, and Method Orange begin to stabilize.
Yep, definitely stabilizing in the matchup. Here it is. Once again, this is the trinket from Peekaboo. It has to be. He cannot afford to take a big leg sweep here. Peekaboo trinkets out.
Oh,
there
no.
it is. Trying to deny, but a beautiful Ring of Peace knocks him back in, but really not too much damage just yet. WizK, of course, is going to be corrupted, but in the meantime, Sea-Doo gets caught into a kidney shot. Do they have the damage? A beautiful fear. Sea-Doo's in so much trouble. He portals away, but Absterge is there to deny any of his heals. He's got the Wind Shear available. He's purging him out. Sea-Doo crossing the map with a double Chi Torpedo, getting behind the pillar, and he manages to escape with his life, but definitely a close call there.
All right, good recovery. Trill gets stunned up. Vendetta pop. Peekaboo pushing for it here. They know they're in trouble on that next chill streak. It could be a Spirit Link Totem, certainly, from the Golden Guardians. Sea-Doo playing the map really well here, but Peekaboo going to use that maneuverability, get back onto Sea-Doo, start building up some pressure. Trill rolls over. Is he going to paralyze Peekaboo? Sea-Doo crosses the map. I love when he crosses the map with the chains of ice. Absurge drops an Earth Grab Totem, though, holding Sea-Doo in place. Peekaboo looks for a re-stealth. Peekaboo just, basically needs to do nothing. They just don't want to stack on WizK. If he gets double stunned with Chill Streak, they're dead. The game is over. So actually, Peekaboo is smartly just waiting. And Method Orange are just going to pull the trigger on a single target on WizK. They blind Trill in the Spites, trying to prevent damage, and WizK escapes with the Rocket Boots. That was nice by Peekaboo. He played it out patiently. He knew that they could lose there, waited for Method Orange to commit, and now is going after Sea-Doo. Stunned up at half, likely has to Life Cocoon. He ports away behind the pillar. Peekaboo not going to keep up the chase. WizK dragging Trill and Mez far away. Fears Trill. Starts looking for some dots. They're going after Mez. I don't think you're going to get too much damage done to the Death Knight here. They do Hex Trill and stun Sea-Doo. Nice Shadow Step. Absurge even lobbing in Lightning Bolts. He's just absolutely min-maxing damage for his team here to take down the Mistweaver. Peekaboo staying on target with that sprint. WizK in Void form. Where's Sea-Doo going to go? What's he going to do? Rolls back. Shadow Stepped on the roll. Has to Life Cocoon. And that's right before the Vendetta. Now Golden Guardians need to get ready. That Chill Streak is going to be up. The Death Grip needs to be Shadow Stepped instantly by Peekaboo. Mez is waiting. He's facing Peekaboo. He grips him. Doesn't get the Shadow Step. But WizK pre-faded it. So WizK escapes the Gladiator Spites and grips Peekaboo out of it. Nice play there by WizK.
He did use his trinket, though, so he did trinket out of the blind. They managed to get at least that. But this is what I'm talking about. The Golden Guardians know how Method Orange want to win, and they are very good at avoiding it, and that's what we're seeing here. Now Sea-Doo caught into a kidney shot. This could easily be his trinket. Grapple weapon coming in from Trill onto Peekaboo. Sea-Doo ports away, but his mana is not looking good, and he is silenced. Mez is rotting down as well. Great pressure here from the Golden Guardians. Sea-Doo topping off Mez potentially, but it gets wind sheared. Nice job there by Absurge pushing in, knowing when he has to really help his team with aggression, throwing in some purges as well. Absurge's mana is not looking great, but the consistent damage is just so low for Method Orange that I think Absurge is going to be able to coast for some time. Mez getting pressured with the fear over onto Sea-Doo. Mez just not getting topped off. A smoke bomb drops down. Mez, he could just fall. He's down to 10% health. The Life Cocoon lands from Sea-Doo. Beautiful setup there by the Golden Guardians. They managed to get a lot of defense.
Oh, they have no trinkets. 3 Spites are down. Absurge Astral shifts. WizK fades, but he gets stunned again. Corruption overload right now. Absurge trying to run out. He gets rocked back in. His corruption is absolutely maxed out here. Does he have the Rathion Cloak? They have to blind Mez defensively, but Trill is going for the kill. Can Absurge stay alive with Trill on his back? Trill is really hammering down on Absurge, forcing him to Ascendance and try and recover. Sea-Doo's very low on mana at this point now as well. Dampening kicking in at 5%. Who are they going to go after? There's no power plays without the blind now. Vendetta comes up pretty soon. Peekaboo's making his way over to Sea-Doo, but WizK is taking a beating at the moment. Jumps into Void form, trying to get some pressure onto Mez and Trill. Shadow Step over onto Sea-Doo. Grip Peekaboo in. WizK Rocket jumps away from the grip. They cannot afford to stack. Peekaboo's taking a risky gamble, moving close to WizK. He stuns Mez. They want to kill the Death Knight in dampening, but he lingering Psychic Shells the stun. Grapple weapons Peekaboo. No damage can be found there. WizK silences Sea-Doo. Absurge looking like he wants to try and get a Hex, maybe? He's just Flame Shocking Sea-Doo. That's a lot of mana to Flame Shock here in dampening. Mez, though, is not that healthy. Feared at 10%. What is happening to Mez? Anti-Magic Shield at 10%. They drop the Gladiator Spites. Peekaboo trinkets. He's got to get out of there before the Chill Streak. He stuns Sea-Doo as he tried to roll in for the leg sweep. He stuns Trill away on the assault. He silences up Mez. Peekaboo with triple control, trying to close this game out. Pressure across the board. WizK's damage starting to sink in. Sea-Doo rolls forward, looking for a stun on Absurge. Absurge dodges Sea-Doo. Mez is now finally taking quite a bit of damage. Life Cocoon has been forced. Sea-Doo finally getting the stun on Absurge. WizK is low. He silences Sea-Doo up. Absurge out of the stun. What are you going to do? Everyone is low health. He's got no mana. Goes for the Spirit Walker's Grace healing waves, trying to power through. Mind controls on Mez by WizK, really just slowing down the damage as much as he can, but Paralyze has been secured. Method Orange are in command. Double Syndragosa out from Mez, and Spirit Link comes down, but they're all just dead. Peekaboo has to zone out. Absurge gets interrupted by Mez. Mez is absolutely decimating the Golden Guardians at the moment. Breaking out of the stun, lingering Psychic Shell. They're all just dead. I mean, Absurge is holding on by a thread, grip into double blind. All of them trinket. They got to get out of here. How are they going to pull this game back together? I mean, at this point, how are they even still alive? He's actually recovered. WizK's at full health. Peekaboo is somewhat healthy. What? How did you do that? You were all 10% health. Mez is going to die? No way, Golden Guardians. No way.
Can they actually turn it around? I mean, somehow Absurge recovers, like you said. Mez forced to trade out the AMS, the Trinket, but the double stun. This has to be it. There's way too much damage. Peekaboo, he cannot survive this. Golden Guardians cheat death for a long time in the match, but there was just nothing left for Absurge. They used everything on that last setup. Method Orange plays it calm, cool, and collected, and end up tying up the series. We're now at 1-1 in this match.
Golden Guardians play like gods to last as long as they did. Method Orange also have to play out of their minds to be able to take the series. I want to ask, before we actually break this one down one more time, just to talk about the composition thing. I know we've already mentioned it quite a bit, but do you think that there are easier lines of play for Method Orange to potentially win this series on Zico?
I mean, I think I would have liked to see it just the Unholy DK,
Okay.
to be honest. It feels like the Frost DK is kind of a one-trick pony. You know, you grip in, you do the Blinding Sleet, you get the leg sweep, and then you do the Chill Streak, you know, one tap, basically. But I feel like when you play the Unholy DK, it's a little bit less scripted like that, and people can't really play around it as well as the Golden Guardians.
And I think that we heard that from Venruki during the cast, too. He said, basically, the Golden Guardians know how Method Orange want to win right now, and they're very good at avoiding it. And we saw, even when it was difficult to avoid it, Golden Guardians pulling that off quite a few times. But let's look at how Method Orange was able to win in this game, and let's take a look at some of the key moments, Zico.
Actually, the moment that you're talking about, Rich, that is one of the key moments. So I picked
there
the
we
good
go.
one, huh? There we go. All right, so obviously, throughout the game, Sea-Doo and Peekaboo have been having their kind of little 1v1. Peekaboo blinding Sea-Doo and then kidneying him, basically trying to force Sea-Doo to swap sides. And this is one of those situations where Sea-Doo, he's at the pillar, Peekaboo wants to go there, wants to force him out, force him to maybe use his trinket on a stun so he can blind him and kill somebody else later. Try to get the momentum rolling. Sea-Doo teleports out of there, and most rogues, when they see, oh, the guy that I'm hitting is 30%, I'm gonna go and chase him. Peekaboo does not. He goes for the re-stealth, and he just stays away, and that's because he doesn't have his Gladiator's Medallion. So if he gets gripped in and Method Orange does a setup, all of a sudden Golden Guardians are gonna have to use massive defensive cooldowns. Instead, Peekaboo gets a re-stealth, waits for Method Orange to get impatient and pull the trigger, blinds defensively as well, and then tries to extend the match where they can kill the DK later. Obviously that didn't work out for them, but still it's a place like this where you can kind of just play around the Frost DK entirely that the Golden Guardians are really good at, and that's why we kind of criticize the pick. But Method Orange as well, they had beautiful execution in general throughout this game, and I think Absurge somehow recovered everyone there at the end, and if Sea-Doo didn't push in there and really try to close out the match, I think they could have easily died. Mez could have easily died.
Yeah, and I think that that's really like in game 2 where the criticism kind of was on Method Orange. It was just like they played like gods, but is there a world where they can win without needing to play like gods? But I think that they are really, really liking the Frost Death Knight. Maybe kind of having a little bit of that if it's not broken, don't fix it mentality, because they are going to be locking it in on the blind here on Tiger's Peak, and I'm pretty sure we all expect Golden Guardians to go the same line that they have thus far. So we are in a realm where we have more Frost Death Knight. How hard is it going to be in your mind, Supatis, for Method Orange to be able to get on match point here as we're all tied up in this series?
I was thinking it might be hard if they go to a map where it's easier to hit Sea-Doo. I mean, that map was really hard because Sea-Doo played the map so well. When you're Chains of Iced as a rogue, you don't move very fast. So if Sea-Doo is constantly switching sides of the map, then Peekaboo just doesn't get to hit him often. So I'm a little bit surprised that they didn't go for something smaller than Tigers, like Hook Point or something. Oh, this is a change too. Go over to the Holy Paladin. This could work wonders for them. It's going to be a lot of... I wonder if he's going to play Avenging Light. I really want to see Absurge play Avenging Light as the honor talent. So every Holy Light he does, 30% of the healing it does damage to everyone around the target you heal. So let's say Mez and Trill are hitting Wizkay, and Absurge heals Wizkay for 100,000. He's going to do 30,000 damage to Mez and Trill. It's a lot of extra damage to be added to the team. I'm very curious how they decide to play it.
Cheeky little adaptation coming out from the Golden Guardians. Carl going to be going on over to the Paladin. Zico, how do you feel about this?
I like it. I mean, this is one of the things that we've been kind of calling for when it comes to the Golden Guardians. We want to see them diversify. We want to see them play a little bit more meta healers because, let's be honest, Absterge is insane on the rest of Shaman. I think we can all agree that he was making miracles happen even just in the last game, but you can have, you can have a Paladin. You can just remove Touch of Karma and kill the Windwalker. You have so much more, if you get stunned, you can just remove it. You have so many cooldowns to just answer the DK, and it's just a target as well that won't get cleaved. So I just like the Paladin in general. The Paladin's super strong in the current meta as well. I think Paladin and Monks are the two best healers.
I got to interview Pika on the podcast on Thursday, and I asked a question about Sturge, and he said, "When we lose, it's Carl's fault. When we win, it's Carl's fault." So now we're really seeing the Sturge get fully utilized here, and we're gonna have to see how it will work out on the Paladin. Then Ricky, how is this going to change the dynamic on Tiger's Peak after we already kind of talked about the scripted setups that Method Orange was really looking for when they are using the Frost Death Knight? Is this Paladin going to change that dynamic a whole bunch?
Well, I think the one thing that's really nice for Absterge is the fact that, well, there's a couple things. So the Paladin is going to provide a little bit more crowd control. I think he can push in and kind of follow up setups with Repentance if he decides to play that, which is nice. So crowd control chains could be extended. And also you kind of have this additional offense by being able to Blessing of Protection on Touch of Karma. So if they go after Trill, he uses Touch of Karma, they can use the Blessing of Protection to remove that. All of a sudden things are a little bit more, insecure for Trill in the match. But I think more so than anything, Absterge just being able to use the Blessing of Freedom on the Spike goes is going to be massive. I would honestly assume Sea-Doo, Mez, and Trill, they don't even use Spite. They completely abandon that in this match with the Holy Paladin. I don't think they'll get really any value, and I think a large part of the reason we saw so much damage from them, even though, their chill streaks were kind of getting messed up, they were still getting a lot of value in their goes because of Spite, and if they don't have that, I think it's going to be a little bit more in favor of the Golden Guardians.
All right, well, this one's all tied up. Two of the favorite teams from North America going head-to-head. Who will pull ahead on Tiger's Peak?
All right, here we go. Absterge is going to be tested. Can the Golden Guardians find victory through diversity here, bringing in the Paladin? Gates have opened. I'm checking the builds here to see if we are correct about them dropping the Spike Trinket. It doesn't make sense to play it into the Paladin, but it looks like they still are. They're still running the Spites. Mez gets sapped early on. They try and find Peekaboo. He switches the sap over to Sea-Doo. He's in line of the whole team that could just open on Sea-Doo. They silence Mez. Looks like they're getting a kidney shot out of the sap. Set up for a swap. Grip into double blind, though. How are they going to deal with the Spites? Absterge is playing Relentless. WizK breaks out with the Trinket Fade. Grips Absterge out of the Spite. WizK going to use his tools, but Absterge gets double bounced back into the Void Puddle. Huge Ring of Peace play there by Method Orange, but not going to find too much damage off the back of it. Insane damage right now, though, by Golden Guardians. Method Orange going to pop the Way of the Crane while silenced to try and get some heals. Although Way of the Crane is very expensive, and he's actually punished. He's feared on it. Trill gets stunned up. Golden Guardians going after a different target, focusing down Trill a little bit more here.
Yeah, it looks like Trill will be taking a little bit of damage, but so far Sea-Doo has been able to heal through that pressure quite nicely. WizK getting interrupted, and I think it's going to be up to Mez and Trill to really slow down WizK with interrupts whenever possible in this matchup. We're about a minute in now, full blind on Sea-Doo. He immediately trinkets. He is not messing around, looking to get those heals onto Trill. Sea-Doo now into a kidney shot, as it looks like Peekaboo is looking to get that damage rolling, but they force out the anti-magic zone for the Vendetta of Peekaboo, so just really efficient trades. I mean, Sea-Doo trinkets the blind, Vendetta immediately responded to with the anti-magic zone, and Method Orange is kind of just, they're playing the script. They don't want to, make any mistakes or underreact to the situation, because if they do, I think that's when things really start snowballing for the Golden Guardians.
All right, Peekaboo trinkets out of that. Spite attempt, swaps over to Sea-Doo. Kidney into Hammer of Justice. WizK going to back up and right at the end of this. Huge damage! Beautiful setup there by the Golden Guardians. This Paladin definitely paid its weight in gold. And you know what? They went full offense that game. There was not a single piece of versatility corruption on anybody on the Golden Guardians. They went Ineffable Truth for more damn on those judgments. They went full Gushing Wound. They went full haste. And they won the game really fast. So interesting choice there by the Golden Guardians. It played into their playstyle, and it worked out.
I mean, ultimately, what is always the criticism of the Golden Guardians. It's that they need to diversify their comps. The second that we actually see Carl being the one, or Sturge being the one who actually does pick up something that we maybe didn't expect to see in this matchup, what are they able to do? Absolutely dominate that game. Zico, let's talk about how.
Yeah, I mean, it's so nice to see. They do pretty much the same thing that they did in the previous game. Early blind onto Sea-Doo, forcing out his trinket. Then Peekaboo immediately pops his Vendetta, and that's gonna force, because Sea-Doo doesn't have his trinket, because he just trinketed the blind, that's gonna force out the anti-magic zone. And that's what he did in the previous game as well, the one that he lost on Ashamains. But here, they're able to capitalize on it. A little bit later on, they're able to find another setup like that and push through. And a lot of it, I think, just comes down to that Rogue Priest synergy that Whiskey and Peekaboo has built up, but also having the Paladin there, bringing, you know, big damn Judge and extra, you know, a DR Hammer of Justice, a little extra lockdown there is exactly what they needed to secure that kill on Sea-Doo. And I think the Paladin pick, it's something they should be playing a lot. We've been saying it a lot. It's by far the best like offensive healer right now in the current meta. Play it. You guys are the kings of offense. This is what you should be doing.
Well, I will go back at the beginning of the series. At the beginning of the series, everybody on the analyst desk, on our virtual analyst desk, basically said that they thought Method Orange was going to be able to win. Now they're facing elimination potentially in this next game. Do you still think that they have that potential to win this series, Supatis? And if they do, what do they need to switch to? Is it the Unholy Death Knight, or is there some other missing factor that you guys saw at the beginning that has not been brought into the game yet?
They could go... I'm not a fan of Mistweaver. I just feel like Paladin would be better for Sea-Doo.
Agreed.
And, I mean, they could play anything with Paladin. They could play Demon Hunter Death Knight and just Mana Rift if they want to. The same way that they did in Game 1, or Series 1 of the day, except just with a Paladin healer instead. Because the Mistweaver is just a liability. You have to play so well the entire game, or you're just going to die in a swap, get purged down. So I would like to see Sea-Doo as well switch to Paladin.
Van, how do you feel about that? Do you think it's just Pallies all around?
It's kind of looking that way, to be honest with you. I mean, Sea-Doo seems like he's getting caught consistently. They didn't really make that bad of trades. I mean, the only thing I was thinking about that last game, potentially Mez may have used the anti-magic zone a little preemptively. I mean, they didn't commit that much. The Vendetta is scary, but there's things that are a lot scarier than that, like going into a kidney shot when you're already 50% health. So I think they could maybe just go back, play the same comp, play it a little bit more patiently, but I think that's extremely risky. Going to the Paladin definitely could be an option, but I know Sea-Doo, sometimes he doesn't like to play healers that he's not super practiced on, and I read a tweet from him the other day. I think he just, got his Paladin geared and has been playing it, just the last few days. So that might be something they look to do in the future, but maybe hesitant for this tournament. But it could just be their best option, even out of practice.
Okay, well, we're going to close quarters here. Hook Point will be the map where Method Orange might be sent out of this tournament. They're going to need... That was their selection, by the way, coming off of the loss. So they are setting up for this small map. Golden Guardians are going to make their pick right now. Zico, do you think that they bring the Paladin here on the blind?
I think if they bring the Paladin on the blind, they could bait Method Orange to run a mage comp. Actually, I think they should lock it in on the blind, honestly. Lock it in, play it on the blind until you're forced off of it. Worst case scenario, you lock it in as a blind pick, as a counter pick a little bit later on, if you lose this game. I feel like Golden Guardians can afford to just blind lock it. And on the side of Method Orange, because they're picking this map, I'm almost positive we're going to see, I want to say Sea-Doo on a Resto Shaman, and then we're going to see probably Trill on a Windwalker and Sam on his Demon Hunter. I think that's what we're going to see. I think I kind of like that.
Okay, we're going to be finding out very shortly what the Golden Guardians will lock in. If you cannot stress it enough, seeing this matchup right now for top 4 is pretty exciting, but one of these teams is not going to make it all of the way to that top 4. We're just waiting to see what they lock in right now. Golden Guardians are just about out of time here. Supatis, is there anything in particular that you're keeping your eye on?
I mean, Golden Guardians locked in here. They're going to play the Paladin again. Method Orange need to pick whether or not they want to switch healers out. Maybe even Shaman. Shaman, Demon Hunter.
I haven't even seen that yet.
I'm looking at the draft page.
I don't see anything yet.
I see Golden Guardians.
Sid has some crazy link that's ahead of everybody else's link. Because I do have the Golden Guardians pick now, but he's done it like 8 times today, and I was like, man, this guy is 5-headed. He's predicting like before the line. But yeah, ultimately we are going to have the Golden Guardians, like Sid said, locking in that Holy Paladin. We're waiting to see what Method Orange is going to lock in. Just saw that they are going to be locking in the Demon Hunter, and Mez is going to be going on to Unholy. This was something that you guys did mention quite a few times. How do you feel about it in the tight area of Hook Point, Zico?
I like the Unholy. I like the Demon Hunter. I don't like the Mistweaver. Mistweaver on this map, Sea-Doo's gonna get tested, that's for sure. That's definitely for sure.
I kind of wonder if like we're gonna see what we saw earlier today from Method Orange. I mean, maybe they just decided, you know what, they have a Shadow Priest, we can just play it really, really defensive. We're gonna see the Vision of Perfection. The one thing I think that potentially they're not accounting for is just Golden Guardians. I mean, they've been playing absolutely sick. Like Zico kind of mentioned, on Tiger's Peak, they were playing super aggressive with their gearing. They are ready for all-in offense, which is kind of the polar opposite of what we've seen from a lot of teams. A lot of teams are playing super defensive, conflict and strife, maximum versatility, lingering psychic shell, basically everything you can do to just live. They're just trying to live as long as possible. Golden Guardians, they're putting it all on the line. I mean, you have to give them a lot of credit. Their composition requires you to play really aggressive, and it's awesome to see that they actually are, and it's working out for them.
And think about it this way as well. When you're thinking big picture, this week is probably more important for Golden Guardians than it really is for most teams, right? Gushing Wounds nerfs comes in. That could be that little bit of damage out of the way that will not allow them to get as deep in on some of these runs. And if you can manage to get these victories now, accumulate the points now, all of a sudden you're looking really good to be able to stay in for the entirety of the AWC. So we'll have to see if the Golden Guardians can actually pull that off. Method Orange trying to make a final stand here on Hook Point with that Unholy Death Knight that you heard Zico, you heard Super Cheese talking about how good an Unholy Death Knight could be. Now, Abstract has really been the X factor in this series, pulling out that Holy Paladin. Have there been any other X factors in your mind, Super Tees, in the series that have really just changed the way that you expected it to go?
I mean, it's not really an X factor. It was like a throw factor. Method Orange's first comp pick. That was kind of just... Maybe they thought it was going to work a lot better than it ended up working out. But the whole series could be cost based on them experimenting in Game 1.
Yeah, that Game 1 was definitely kind of that spooky area where everything started to spiral out of control, it felt like, but Method Orange was able to then make that stand and was able to potentially bring it back already, but it's still looking very scary when we do get to Hook Point. What is that win condition going to be, though, for the Golden Guardians, Zico, for anybody just tuning in right now?
The win condition for Golden Guardians is going to be kill Sam I Am and kill Sea-Doo. You cannot play a strategy where all you're doing is running at Sea-Doo. He's going to play around it and only uses, he's going to try to preemptively life cocoon himself and try to make it as difficult as possible for you to kill him. So you need to make sure that Sea-Doo knows that at any point, Sam can go down. Why Sam? Because Sam only has one breaker out of stuns. So Sam, he has his trinket. He can break out of a stun with that. That's it. Whereas Mez, if he wants to, he can go Lichborn, and every 1 minute he can break out of a stun. In addition to that, he will have his trinket, and in addition to that, he will also have Death Strike. So whenever he breaks out of something, he can then immediately start kind of healing himself. Sam Trill used to play Demon Hunter on this squad, so it's a little confusing, but Sam, he's going to have to play a very careful game. The good thing about Demon Hunters is that you only have one way out of stuns, but you have a lot of ways to kind of dodge stuns. You can activate, your Chaos Strike, I do believe, to avoid your Blade Dance, sorry, not Chaos Strike, to avoid stun before. If you activate it right before Pico tries to kidney you, you can blur to kind of dodge some stuff as well, and some other stuff. So it's basically a game of cat and mouse in that regard. And then at any point when they have pressure on Sam, they need to blind Sea-Doo. If he trinkets, that's when we're going to see a big all-in onto Sea-Doo. And that's why I'm saying Sea-Doo's going to be tested in this game, because And at any point, Sam can die, and at any point, he can also die if he makes one bad
I
judgment.
think that's one of the reasons the series has been so awesome to watch, though, throughout the entirety of it so far, headed into this Game 4. It has really felt like every single player has had to play out of their minds to stay in this one. Golden Guardians, if they win this hook point, they go on to compete tomorrow in the top 4 of NA on Sunday. If they win this, Method Orange will no longer be in this tournament. Method Orange needs to win here to get all the way to a Game 5. We're going to get these gates open and see who's going to take this.
Yeah, I mean, just so much on the line for both of these teams, right? Golden Guardians, obviously they want to push forward. They need to be getting as many points as possible. Method Orange currently ahead of them a little bit, but I mean, with only 4 cups, I mean, you really have to be acquiring as many points as possible. And it's like you kind of said, Rich, for Golden Guardians, with some of the gushing wound changes, potentially the future is a little bit more, uncertain for them at this point. But a great tournament performance from them so far. Golden Guardians really coming in with a lot of pressure in this match, and let's see if they can find opportunities here against Method Orange.
Nice shackle on the Abomination, just instantly negating Mez's cooldown by WizK. Absters pulls back very far in the starting area, gets Death Gripped into a triple stun. Beautiful setup by Sam I-beam across the board. Absters holds onto the Avenging Wrath, trying to reposition, although a bit difficult on hook point. Going to be moving towards center field. Peekaboo marches at Sea-Doo. He got Sea-Doo's trinket on the blind. He swaps instantly for a kidney shot. Who's going to back up Sea-Doo during the stun? He Fort Bruised the stun, so he's taking a lot less damage. And it doesn't look like the Golden Guardians are going to commit to it. They know that they're not going to kill him through it. WizK gets blasted. Huge pressure over there. Void Shift. The first big cooldown out of the way. Mez suddenly taking a huge amount of damage. Anti-magic shield forced from him. Remember, the Golden Guardians, they're wearing full gushing. They're maxed out for damage, but that also means they take a lot of damage. Sam gets swapped to in the bomb, has to trinket. They overlap the life cocoon. Sea-Doo goes for the way of the crane here, trying to push for a kill onto WizK. He gets stunned off by Peekaboo. Swapped over to now by the entire team. He's got no life cocoon. He ports. Will Peekaboo be able to get on target? He trinkets the Imprisoned to go for the kill. They're on match point. Golden Guardians looking to make it to top 4. Anti-Magic Zone denying the kill for a few moments. Sea-Doo gambles the Dispelling Ring of Pieces Peekaboo away, but he gets kicked. He's Cloak of Shadows in for the kill. Darkness is holding on at 1%. Darkness is not. Mind control comes through. Golden Guardians go full offense and find the win 3-1. We'll see them on Championship Sunday.